going?
We're going.
Oh,
So
shit.
when Becca said a few minutes ago, said, "What are we doing here?" My answer was, "We're getting together to wait around so that we can then watch sumo." That's
I
my
like that answer.
This is a lobby. This is a sumo watching lobby. And if you're cool and you want, you can stay and watch sumo with us later.
Yeah.
But that's really what this show is now.
It'll be
That's
fun.
what it's all about.
It's worth it, guys. I'm telling you.
That sounds so boring.
You're doing yourself a disservice. You're being an ugly American too by just banishing the idea from your thought.
Even President Trump is going to be watching sumo in person.
Talk about an ugly American. All right, but
He's King Ugly American.
He's king of the ugly Americans, and even he's watching it.
I'm not.
You don't want to let your king down now, do you?
I'm not saying that. Oh, hold on. Keep talking. I had to write what you just said down. So wait, say it again. I forgot it.
You don't want to let your king down. Now I can't even fucking say it. Now
It's okay. I got it.
You know what? Let that. All right. Done.
Becca, have you even tried to watch sumo yet?
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. I have one more word to write down. Okay,
I got a clipped word up too.
Oh.
I wasn't saying that it sounds boring because I'm being an ugly American. It has nothing to do with that. It's the last time I watched it, it was boring to me.
I don't think an ugly American can say that about themselves.
Oh, you guys get to be the judge of it? Well,
no, I mean, it's like like if a person who's schizophrenic kills a bunch of people, they're not allowed to say, "Well, I didn't do it because I'm schizophrenic."
Well, they are actually. That's an insanity defense.
Actually, yeah, you are allowed to do that.
Enjoy the rest of your life in an insane asylum.
I did it because I'm schizophrenic. Okay, bad example. Look, Kegel fucking 3D print shit now, and I have a coaster.
Hell yeah.
This is a coaster, y'all.
Guys, real quick, if you could get one thing 3D printed, what would it be? Ready, go.
Go. What are you waiting for?
Go.
A pizza.
A pizza?
No.
It doesn't work.
It has to be made out of plastic. Ready, go.
It has to be made out of this type material. You can clearly see what this is. It's this stuff.
Ready, go.
I want a replica of Flight 818 or whatever from Lost.
Okay, that's actually a good one.
Oceanic Flight 815.
Oh, we should get him to 3D print the Noid.
Dave, ready, go.
My feet.
Actually, yeah, that would work.
I
We
need a
could do
replica
that.
of my feet.
All right, yeah. Nathan, ready, go.
I mean, my immediate answer was dildo. I mean, of course, for personal use.
We know a guy, and we're going to send all those things you just mentioned to you after he gets done 3D printing them.
Really?
Nathan, you may have to sand yours down a little bit. Dave, you're going to definitely have to sand yours down a little bit.
Yeah, I got the toenail thing.
So you got to sand them down. This is what I'm hearing. They need to be sanded down.
This material. I don't know how well you can see it, but this shit right here, it's real like rigid. You still see the lines from where the printer head was, laying down the shit. And a lot of, most people, if you're making anything, you would sand that down, but it looks kind of cool like this.
Actually, yeah, I think the coaster looks cool. I'd like a coaster. I don't know if I want it to be SpaceX. I can't copy everything Steve-O has, but
just wear my shirt 2 episodes in a row.
I meant to give you guys some of these when I was up there, but I forgot.
Oh man, fish lips coasters.
Well, I was going to say it's going to be just a mystery for the listeners unless
copy my birthday.
Watch the stream.
Copy my coasters.
Brad, you cannot trust me with any secrets.
I can't trust somebody that doesn't give sumo a chance.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that the last 3 times you had a secret, I was the one that told it. So you can't.
And you told it immediately before I could tell you not to tell it.
I'm sorry.
What was that? Hey, let's tell that secret.
Yeah,
I want to hear that secret.
Well, here's
talking about it on a show.
Here's one.
Yeah, let's tell everybody.
Okay, this one's not gonna really affect anything. He told me that he wanted me to check out a couple of karaoke songs before they got down here. And he said in a text that one of them was his secret weapon. And I said it out loud, I think on the podcast, actually, that he was planning on singing that song. So I blew that secret for you.
Oh, man.
And there was one other one, and I don't remember what it was, but it's probably good because I think it was a more dramatic
That
one.
whole in the closet, out of the closet thing.
No, you,
I don't think that's a secret.
Brad, I noticed something right away, and I've been waiting to say it on stream. Did you have an unfortunate run-in with some bubble gum? What happened? What happened to the amazing chin beard? What the long flowing wizardly?
It was getting a bit too long, and I just got this really nice trimmer I ordered it off of Amazon with a gift card somebody gave me. Well, my brother gave it to me for Christmas for a hundo. Thanks, Dan. And I bought a really nice set of clippers, and I used the biggest guard that they had, and I didn't realize that I needed to do a little bit more. So I just just rubbing it on my face, and I got done. It looks like this. I'm like, oh, this is a bit more than I wanted to take off, but
it'll turn out because now all your shit's pretty much the same length.
Yeah.
Some of your slow growers have had a chance now to catch up with your quick growers.
Yeah, it looks very full
thicker
on camera.
Yeah.
silver lining.
That's back there. That's back there.
And now I have a free $33 on my Amazon Prime account from what was left over from his purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brad, you were talking about working out and getting those ladies Myron. I think this will probably help you out.
Yeah, I think this
They
will
won't
be
be
a lot
so
better,
scared of the beard.
better than the Amish beard.
And Nathan has a new camera, and it looks
Ooh.
great.
I do.
I hope all you people on Mixer are enjoying your much better view.
Thanks. Yeah, it's wider.
It's a lot clearer.
It's more clear. You can see every blackhead.
Yeah.
You got a
And, like,
crisp view of Nathan's face.
Yeah.
It's like it improved your internet connection too.
Can't
Yeah.
see
It has been good so far, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It is
Mowed
weird.
the
It's
lawn,
like-
it did his laundry. That camera does it all.
It's because he got rid of his microwave.
Yeah. Fuck that microwave.
So I
Got
did
rid of
more
the
reading.
microwave.
I did more reading on that.
Mhm.
So apparently microwave radiation, it is not cancer causing.
Okay, it's a different kind or something.
Just
So
kills
if-
your nuts.
No, so if enough was leaking out, it would just do what the oven does. You would start to burn you. If it was leaking out enough, you would actually feel burns.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, it's not cancer causing. It
But
would just
could it like burn you deeper than just the surface?
It's radiation. Did you see Chernobyl yet?
that I don't. I still feel you would. I don't know that. I doubt.
Yeah.
I can't imagine you're just standing there not feeling anything, and your lungs are
And
being
then all of a
cooked.
sudden, yeah.
You explode. Your chest
You
explodes.
just start coughing and you cough up blood and you're like, what's wrong? I feel fine.
You're coughing up blood and saying, "I feel fine."
I feel fine. Oh, that's weird.
It's weird to cough up blood when I feel so fine.
This could be normal.
You know,
Nothing's wrong.
I was listening to that episode where we were talking about the microwaves and how it affects your Wi-Fi. I was thinking, and this might be pedestrian of me, but could it be that it's the microwave running is sucking power from your box, your internet box?
No, I
Is-
read why. I already know why it's interfering because it runs on the same wavelength. It's like the same hertz.
I just feel like like we would have heard about that before, you know, like, hey, if you plan on having a microwave and internet in your home, here's some
I feel like, well,
We already figured out that part.
I was gonna say, shouldn't people who are on computers all the time and just microwave hot pockets, wouldn't that be a well-known thing in that circle?
should be.
It probably is. But they're not living in an 18x8 camper, so I think most of those
Maybe
people,
they are.
their Wi-Fi is removed enough from their kitchen. It's probably in their living room or some back room somewhere, and
Yeah,
it's not
a
in their.
big deal.
Yeah,
That's a good point. I was gonna say they were probably hardwired in too.
but yeah. Speaking of this camera I got, the reason I got it is because I started a new YouTube gaming channel.
That's right. I watched it.
Steve-O is one of my 3 subscribers. The other one is my other channel, and I think the third is Brian.
Well, I
My
need
two,
to- I need to
so my
subscribe.
2 good friends, Brian and Steve-O, have subscribed to my gaming channel.
Do you have a link where people like? Do you have a URL because you just created it? I'm pretty sure. Don't they give you the option to make your own URL when you first create an account?
I don't think so.
I mean, I could just pull it up, but I can just tell everybody what it is. They can find it if they search it. So it's called Camper Sama. Sama, if people don't know, is it's a Japanese honorific. It's like san or chan, but Sama is like an honorific you would give to someone that's very old, very high up, like a revered elder, which is what I am, right? In the gaming community, I'm a revered elder, much like Dave, now. And the what I wanted to do with this channel, like I think about half the games are going to be older PlayStation 1 games, like my favorite kind of RPGs from that era, and then the other half is going to be some newer games. But what I'm doing, and I hope it works out, I still need to work out some of the audio, is I am actually aiming a camera at the TV, and I'm keeping the border around it.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that for a reason, because I saw there was a guy, Ethan Van Sciver, who is a fantastic streamer. And one of the things he did, which unfortunately he doesn't do anymore, I thought it was really cool. He would take iPads. He had all these iPads, and he would like read through articles, kind of the way we read through articles. Mm-hmm. But he would aim his camera, his phone at the iPad, and he would have a pencil, and he would read through these articles, scrolling through them with the camera aimed at the iPad. And I always felt like it made you feel like you were in the room with the guy more, like you felt like you were hanging out, versus like it's just a screen capture with a voice. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to have the feel, and it's just me, like this one I'm playing now. I'm playing Star Ocean: The Second Story. It's an old RPG. It's the translation is kind of weird, because those older Japanese games, a lot of them were like that. Like they skimped on the translation. So the wording is funny, the names are funny. And I wanted to make it feel like you're just hanging out with somebody like you used to hanging out with them at their house, playing a game.
Play a game, yeah.
So I'm doing all the voices for all the characters. If you cool. Like my weird voices, I'm doing that for every character, and then I'm just joking around about the whole thing. The couple of early videos have some audio issues and visual issues, but I think it's kind of fun. So it's just something I'm doing, throwing it up there because I'm playing games anyway. Yeah. So I figured I might as well just do this because I'm playing them anyway.
It's your first time playing this game, isn't it?
Yeah, I've never played this one. This is I've played a Star Ocean game before, but not this one. So that's kind of fun. But it's got all those same kind of Japanese RPG tropes from back in the day. Yeah. So anybody that's into those kind of games, they'll get a kick out of it, I think.
Episode 3 had a good start where it was like, I'm back in the Star Ocean. I already forgot what the fuck's going on. I was like, subscribe.
This is what I have figured out, is that when you're reading, this is what Becca said a few weeks ago. When you're reading, like you're reading everything out loud, and I'm also trying to think about performance and making it funny.
Yeah, and doing
the information goes through your head, goes right through you.
Right.
So like I've had to go back and rewatch what I watched. I need to go to this town. I have to go to this cave, and then after that I'm going to go up to this town because I'm just trying to perform it and make it funny, and then I forget it.
What are you doing? Like an hour each time or something?
Yeah, they're about an hour long each video so far. I also did a reaction to Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Right. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I watched that. That was how I found out about the new Final Fantasy trailer.
There you go. Yeah, check it out. Check it out, everybody. If you find my brand of childish humor funny, then you'll like that.
I'll have to check it out after Sumo's over.
Yeah, well, Sumo takes precedent over everything. Let's be clear. If you have a choice between my channel and Sumo, if you want to see Tochinoshin, the most badass Georgian in the world, and I mean Eastern Europe, Georgia, you want to see this guy with boulder shoulders throw some Japanese around, that's where you need to go.
You did it again last night. Did it again the night before.
Dude's going to win the tournament. He's going to win the tournament.
He's fucking making it look easy.
I had to go back to the retweet so that I could follow. So you're there you go. Thumbs up. Subscribe.
Thanks, Dave. Another true friend. Another true friend.
All right. Nathan, you responded to this video the other day, and I wasn't sure, like like if it was total sarcasm or what, but I want to play this video for the.
I've got an experiment.
Yeah,
Oh, I
I'm
love
sure.
this.
Safety glasses on. By the end of this century, if emissions keep rising, the average temperature on Earth could go up another 4 to 8 degrees. What I'm saying is the planet's on fucking fire. There are a lot of things we could do to put it out. Are any of them free? No, of course not. Nothing's free, you idiots. Grow the fuck up. You're not children anymore. I didn't mind explaining photosynthesis to you when you were 12, but you're adults now, and this is an actual crisis. Got it? Safety glasses off, motherfuckers.
You have
I
my
know-
tweet? Can you read my tweet?
I can.
If you don't, I can just
yeah,
say
I don't have
what.
it pulled up, but. Oh shit.
I have to
Fine.
say that was something that I did retweet on Crosstown Beano, and you know how I feel about it's not game. Don't mess with it. But God, that was so fucking funny.
It was. I enjoyed it. Let's see. I don't know. I probably need to go to your replies, right?
Yeah,
Because
probably.
you just replied to it, I think.
This is verbal assault. Listen to us figure out Twitter.
Live tweeting, live reading tweets.
Yeah.
You don't need to. I can just say what I said, basically.
Yeah, if you can remember. I don't.
And
know
I
where
was
it is.
quite serious. I was quite serious. Here's the thing: the left in the U.S., those that are, in a sense, rightly talking about things like global warming, climate change. The problem is that, just like in that video, he is just aiming that at the right that is skeptical of the claims, of the science claims being made. He's basically trying to own the cons. He's trying to own the conservatives. But none of these people that preach this shit talk about the fact that the United States has the cleanest burning factories. We have the best technology for taking emissions, reducing emissions, and they never say anything about the fact that China and India are by far are pumping the most shit into the atmosphere, the most carbon dioxide, the most pollutants. They never talk about that shit because it's not politically correct. It's not politically expedient for them. So this is what I said. Oh, Bill Nye, you're virtue signaling to all your bros, and everybody laughs and thinks it's funny. Oh, Bill Nye cussed.
Right.
But what he's saying, and that leaves out Generation 4 nuclear reactors. They have, this is something Bill Gates has just started pushing in the past month. Generation 4 nuclear reactors are super safe, and literally, if they can't melt down, what would happen is they would eat one of those things. If it got interrupted, if it quit working, it would literally eat the fuel, burn the fuel off until it was gone. But nobody wants to talk about nuclear power either, because that's another one of those
It's a hot
in
topic.
that circle.
There's actually a lot of people, like in the scientific community, that want to. Like
They're trying to.
Yeah, every time Joe Rogan or the space show. I know y'all don't listen to that, but it's highly regarded in the space community. There's several other podcasts and stuff. When they have anybody on and they're like, "What's up with nuclear? Why don't we do that?" And they're always like, "Yeah, why don't we do that?" It's because every time you say nuclear to the public, they're like, "No." I mean, there was back when Cassini. If you guys remember all the beautiful pictures that we have up close of Saturn. That's from the Cassini spacecraft. When they launched that, there was a big uprising. We don't want to launch this thing because it was powered by a tiny little nuclear power plant inside, right? It had probably plutonium, because I'm pretty sure that's what they end up using on most of the spacecraft. But there were like protests at Kennedy Space Center, like protesting that launch. And then whenever it came, they did a gravity assist, so it had to come by Earth to get a little boost of gravity to get slung out to the outer solar system. And there were people way too concerned about that fucking up. And then, people hear nuclear and they think it means nuclear bomb. If you drop this thing, that means it's going to be Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's what people think.
Yeah, that's just my issue. It's become a political football in the United States, left versus right. The right just says it's all fake, and the left just says, they focus on the U.S. and say, well, we need to, like AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, with her Green New Deal, literally saying every house needs to be rebuilt. We need to remove planes. Nobody should be flying planes,
Right.
and cows should be eliminated.
Yeah.
No. That's a little crazy.
Yeah.
So this idea
I
that
love me some cows.
like we need to, yeah, but the problem is the left has taken it to, well, we need to change the U.S. Like we need to make these deals like that deal that Trump pulled out, the Paris Agreement, which literally would have put a real hamper on our economy when we're already have the best green technology out there. So they want to hamper our economy, but they're completely giving a pass to India and China and other nations who are far worse than we are. So there literally, there would be no point in us doing that if every country is not doing it. Like if China and India are doing it,
I don't know. It wouldn't be no point in us doing it. I mean,
the difference would be so fractional versus the harm that it would put on our economy to do that.
But if we got our ducks in a row, I think the point is if we got our shit in a row, we would be a leader. And I know that not every country wants to follow the U.S., but if we were actually in a position where we could say, okay, look, now we got our shit together and we have a system that's working, and then we can.
But this is what I'm saying. We already are a leader in that. We already are a leader in that clean burning technology. But
I don't think so.
That is true. That is absolutely true.
I think there's a difference between a leader and being cutting edge. And I think, when the industrial age hit and everybody was using, combustion engines, and it was just taken off here in the US because we had systems in place that would just crank this stuff out and everybody had it and it was cheap. And I think because it was so mass produced, it was so well received, and it became something that was achievable, even by many economic standards. But what I hear what you're saying is that you can be a leader and say, all this technology is great. I have the best plans to make the best windmill, the best solar technology, whatever it is. I have the best of this. But if the initiative is not behind it and you're not producing it in mass and it's not adopted either side, and it's not brought together and it says, wow, we are a beacon of this. We used to be a beacon of the combustion engine. Used to be a beacon of the oil well or the coal mine or whatnot. And, and the steel, and now we're trying to juggle these commodities and we're just not there yet. So what I'm saying is we can be a leader, but if we're not actionable, that's all you are. It's nice to have good plans on a table that really look good, but if you're not doing anything with them, if you're not putting any money behind them, that's all they are. They're just coasters on a table.
Yeah, to me, I just think that things like, well, that's the problem. There's this debate. People talk about solar panels and wind turbines, and some of the things I've been reading is that they're just kind of bullshit. They're not enough energy for what you spend to get in them is not enough what you're getting out of them. And really, I think what we need is these new nuclear reactors all over the place.
That's really what we need.
And we need this, and we should be driving electric cars.
About cleaning up our act, then we would totally embrace nuclear.
And I'm not
new reactors in electric cars.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's lots of more areas that we could be throwing up some wind turbines and maybe have some solar fields or something, and tide. What do they use? They use some kind of generator similar to dams, to get the energy from the tides.
Yeah, wave generators.
Yeah, all that stuff. If we really wanted to, we could. Oh, and I'm not sure that. Let's see. You said that Bill Nye was? What was the term you used?
Virtue signaling.
Virtue signaling. Is that basically preaching to the choir?
It's like, hey, look at me. I'm doing awesome shit. It's just like, remember when I played that video from his new show where it was like, it was complete anti-science gender bullshit. Yeah. I feel like I particularly I don't care for Bill Nye the way you guys do. I don't.
He was,
and I think he basically has just, he sold out to that crowd to get point like that. He's scoring points there. He
I don't
wanted
think
some
it's.
clap.
I
some
don't
claps.
think it's. I don't think it's to score points. I think he legitimately wants to make a difference.
Yeah, but
in
I'm talking.
in that
Yeah,
video.
going to that
I think
gender
he's.
issue.
Yeah, yeah. You're right about that. But he was trying to appeal to his audience that was his audience when they were kids. Basically, people our age. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's why he was on, This Week Daily or whatever. What's it called? Today, This Week, or whatever with John Oliver. That's the right demographic because it is our age that's watching that show. And he gets on there and throws around some F-bombs. And he even said in there, I didn't mind teaching you about photosynthesis when you were 12 years old, but grow the fuck up. He's trying to, and he is preaching to the choir because the people watching that show are probably people that are already left-leaning.
Yeah, I mean, he's he's going to listen to his publicist and whatever he's going to get behind. I mean, I like him because I enjoyed that we all went and saw him together here. So, I mean, that was interesting, and I think he's cool. And
I wish that it wasn't a politicized thing. We would have made so much more ground on cleaning up our sources of energy by now if it wasn't politicized. And it may have been politicized by the people that were originally trying to do the right thing because they went too far and, making it like we need to all of a sudden stop using oil altogether, which is completely unrealistic. But like, oh yeah, all we have to do is put some wind farms up and put some solar panels in the roads and it'll be great. You remember the solar panel roads thing?
Yeah, well, yeah. When
These
you
things
tell,
aren't realistic. Like you're going to have to compromise, and you're going to have to be willing to use things like nuclear. That it's the very demographic. The left doesn't want the nuclear, but do you want clean or do you not?
right?
well,
It's like
3 Mile Island's going to close this year, the final reactor for 3 Mile Island. And that's because it wasn't getting any help from federal government. So Pennsylvania said, okay, it's losing money left and right. So
what's the story with 3 Mile Island? Because I don't know, and I'm going to assume that some of our listeners may not.
Well, 3 Mile Island was the first nuclear meltdown here in the United States.
Oh, okay.
Out of 3 reactors. The first one melted down. They were able to contain it. It's a big story. There's plenty of documentaries about it.
It's one of those things I should know, right?
Yeah, yeah, and there's even some dramatized stories about it, like Silkwood, Norma Ray, these kind of those kind of shows back. But anyways, in the 70s, it had a meltdown, and it was a big deal. But they were, like I said, they were able to contain it. And then the second unit, Unit B or Unit 2, I don't know what it is, but it's 800 megawatt place, and because it continually loses money, albeit through regulation or whatever. I don't know enough about why it loses money, so I'm not a professional there. But I think it closes down this year.
Maybe they're paying to store their spent rods or something.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I like it. So I didn't mean to cut you off there, Nathan. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say that I think, like, when you look at let's say your average conservative angle on that, what they don't want is somebody coming in and telling them, you can't drive the car you want anymore. You can't do it this way anymore. And on top of that, they don't want it if it's going to cost them more. Now, that's part of that, the climate change. The argument is, we need to force this technology in when it's not actually economically better than what we have. So the point is, every conservative would get on top of it if it was that much better and that much cheaper. They would. If there were all these reactors around and you had cheap energy and everybody had something like, a Tesla or something like it, and you could see like, wow, this is actually better, then people would do it.
Yeah.
But if you just like hit people over the head with like, oh, we need wind turbines everywhere and solar panels, and then it's just like, oh, if you don't agree with this, then you're like, you don't care about the planet. Fuck you. You just want to set the world on fire. Grow up, motherfucker. Like everybody's just gonna be like, fuck you, asshole. Nobody fucking cares. It's like, what is this gonna cost me, and is it better? That's what people care
I think
about.
the mentality is, and I don't want to get any hate mail on this or
Send Dave all your hate mail.
Any hate
865
865-316-6955. How much hate mail did we get last week, Steve-O?
Hold on. Let Dave say his hateful comment.
I mean, we can get behind, and I don't want to say I am. Let's get this out there. I'm a strong proponent of having a really, really solid military, especially a Navy, in Air Force. That's game-changing kind of forces.
He particularly likes those armored carriers. He loves them. He loves climbing behind the wheels of them every once in a while.
I mean, if I had the opportunity, that'd be.
His buddies do, yeah.
Yeah, but if you could, but when it comes time for a drive that we need to rebuild our military, we all get behind. We're building the ships, we're building this, and we're building that. I think if the mentality were that if we were all building wind turbines and we were opening up plants across the nation that all built wind turbines because we were going to put them wherever we could. And it was going to be part of this new, super infrastructure grid, then that's something, because all the energy is focused on it, just like you would to build a fleet of battleships or, finish out and complement your fleet of F-35s. I'm not saying those things are not worthy of that money spent by far. I think it's cutting edge shit and we should continue to spend that money. But it's about that mentality and that focus. And I think that if as a nation and I think you come together, you'd find a way, but nobody wants to get on board with anything. Every time we want to get on board with something, we figure out a way to divide everybody in half, and then nothing gets done. And I don't care whether it's the right or the left. The minute we get on top of something that's not tragedy based, we are easily divided.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, we should build a wall, put wind turbines on top of the wall. If you want to make it over the top, you got to be quick. Quick.
Why isn't the wall just made out of solar panels?
Yeah, I've heard that claim.
Because
I've heard that idea.
Sun points down.
It's not quite how they work.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
it just depends on how you shape the wall. The wall doesn't have. I mean, that's because you're thinking of what a wall is vertical. But if it's in a high angle vertical, it collects the light. And if you just want to climb on it, you're gonna get your shit burnt.
Nobody could even if it was angled facing Mexico, right? Well, I guess it would be facing, the solar panels would be facing us, but like the angle would be going over Mexico. How is somebody going to climb up like that? They're not. They can't do that.
Well, it's because you got to put the barbed wire over the solar panels. There's no place to climb if there's barbed wire on there.
Got to be glass barbed wire too.
We need to put a bid together.
So the glass barbed wire breaks off in your skin.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that would suck.
Then you start bleeding red, white, and blue.
That's so crazy.
Brad. No, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And then we let you through. If you bleed red, white, and blue, then we let you
Right,
through.
that's the test. Yeah. Brad, did you have a clip of sumo? Is that?
I pulled up the match to try to sell these fools on sumo, seeing if they don't want to. They don't want to. So got it queued up. Nathan, don't give anything away. Just looking at these two guys, place your bets. Who you think's going to win?
Well, I'm always going to bet on the tiny guy.
All right.
But oh my God, that's
Becca.
a tiny motherfucker.
What about you, Becca?
What? Oh, am I supposed to? I'm going to say the guy with the long dress thing on with the symbols.
Oh, that guy.
He's always
the most
a winner.
fancy.
He is definitely the fanciest.
Chat, can you see this?
I mean, I feel like I'm inside.
I think Steve.
If I bet.
Yeah, I think Steve-O knows a little bit more.
What is it? Little guy, big guy? Who's going to win this?
Full fucking.
Who you got?
Make it full screen, baby. Let's do this. Let's watch this match.
All right, I wanted to give
Let's
Chad
go.
a chance if they wanted to throw their.
No one's there.
All right, you said 5:25, so this is 5:24. Here we go.
Close enough. All right, here we
Oh,
go.
yeah. International. We have a Japanese listener.
Oh, that was kind of a slow start.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Somebody's gonna get hurt.
Pull him up by his
That's
ass.
the first head,
See that?
Little guys underneath.
Boom.
Oh,
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh my damn!
he's rolling through, folks.
A
Y'all
little
think-
guy versus a guy twice his size. Got underneath.
Shit. You are shamed.
Got inside his grip. Dumped him on
Far
his
more
ass.
technique to this than just two fat dudes pushing each other around.
Yeah, man, I haven't seen anybody do a headlock yet.
They have
That's
Oh,
bodysuits
he
on?
thought he thought
No,
he
those
had,
are
like,
those are
Those
just
are
regular
sneak
body.
body
He goes for the
suits.
kick. Yeah, he went for the kick. Then he jerks him back and headbutts him forward.
Oh,
He's gonna
here's a-
sit down and he's just gonna be all right.
I thought I saw a body, like, because look, you can
He's
see
got a-
folds.
he's got a
He has a
leg
knee
brace,
brace.
He's
or-
got two knee
But look at his
braces.
arm. You can see it on his arm, too.
He
has an
got
arm
arm
brace.
braces. Yes, they are not. They're definitely
They're not fat
body
suits.
They're not fat suits.
Based on the evidence. Based on
This
the
is
evidence.
real
I'll go with
sumo. It's not the thing you see in like TV
See,
shows.
I'm glad I
Everybody
went
gets
for
in
the
a suit.
little guy.
Sumo's one of those things. It'll you see something like that, maybe you'll give it a chance. We even have a close friend of ours who we never thought we'd hear him say these words, but he says, "I wish they didn't have those things on the front." When they first walk out, they have a thing on the front. Nathan knows the name.
Yeah.
Apron thing.
Yeah. And he was like, "Man, I wish they didn't have them things on the front. I want to see them haunches."
Yeah. We could say who it is. It was Todd.
Do it.
Todd
He
wanted to see their leg muscles so he could judge. Like,
got like his first 6 predictions correct,
Yeah,
and
he
he wouldn't
was.
always go for the big guy, and he was like, "All right, I'm in it."
he was just
He was
looking at
thinking
the
it
ass muscle.
professionally.
He was telling me yesterday at work. He's like, "Man, that's sumo." I was like, "I told you. I told
It's
you." it was
on
awesome."
still. I don't know if he knows or not. I don't know if he's watching at all.
He mentioned to me he was going to be on. He said he would be
Oh, shit.
a case of beer deep, but you know, who knows?
That's how we know.
I
That's
played
how
a
we know
round of
Todd.
golf with him earlier before we started.
So you should
Round of
still be fairly drunk by the time sumo starts.
Yeah, there's just
Like-
new game available on Xbox Live. Some golf game. I think it's
Oh.
called Golf Club, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so sumo super easy. First one to touch the ground with anything other than their feet loses, or be pushed out of the ring, they lose. And the match seems to start when both guys put both of their fists on the ground, and then it's go time. You're just watching the other dude. But there's so much technique to it. Like, you can wait and just punch the ground real quick and go, or you can just be sitting there just like, "Let's go, motherfucker! I'm waiting for you."
I think the biggest guy, Ichino Joe, is like he's like 6'5" and he's like 500 pounds. I think he's not the biggest. He's one of the biggest. It's somewhere in there.
500 pounds. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's a
I think
fit
he was
500
doing well.
pounds.
Oh, there's a
There's
lot of
muscle
muscle
under
under
that
there.
fat.
Yeah, it's under there because all they do is lunges and squats all day.
That's it. That's their whole job is lunges and squats.
Lunges and squats. Lunges and squats.
Sponges
Anyway,
and lots.
sponges
There
and
you
lots.
go.
That's the episode name for you.
Do you guys hear about this update to Microsoft Word?
No.
No. Sorry.
Are
I'm
they
not.
putting a new paper clip in?
You're about
Are they
you're about to hear
you
about
gonna
it.
be able to include images now?
So, a new version of Microsoft Word will take document checking to another level. It will check your writing for political correctness and make suggestions that are more sensitive towards your readers. The artificial intelligence-driven program dubbed Ideas in Word is aimed at helping writers write better, is the claim. Microsoft has not described it as a political correctness tool, according to the report. But see, how does it work? For example, if a person writes, quote, "We need to get some fresh blood in here," the program would probably suggest changing the word to something like, we need to get some new employees. Very
Oh my
spicy.
goodness.
Very good.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Words that refer to genders such as spokeswoman, waitress, or mailman would likely trigger suggestions including spokesperson,
I mean, I know I'm
wait
triggered.
person, or mail person.
The preferred term is server.
Similarly, if you call someone a disabled person or retard, either one, if you call in your writing, the software would prompt you to change the wording to quote someone with a disability. Yeah.
How
Right.
vague of them.
You guys happy that our technological overlords are watching out for our language and making sure that we can say choose the
They're
right
keeping
words?
everyone from losing their jobs.
Even in your personal writing, you can.
That
you
also
choose.
gives us a wonderful segue to the thing I was going to bring up
Yeah,
last
it
week.
really does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
It
is?
makes
Yeah.
me it makes me seem
Steve-o,
smart.
Yeah,
Pull
I
up-
got you, man. I got you.
Pull up the video. We'll come back to sumo.
I have to assume that that Nathan has seen this. I have to.
I haven't.
Women have been transforming the world every day in ways both big and small. But you wouldn't know it from
This is a
search results
Pantene ad.
because society has
Don't
taught
give it
search
away,
engines
Steve-o.
to become biased.
If you're searching greatest painters, the default is going to be male.
As a mother who has 2 daughters, it was heartbreaking to see the sexualization of girls.
What
Heartbreaking.
am I supposed to feel like if I type in something perfect and I don't really see myself?
Search results reflect cultural stereotypes, distorting women's achievements and potential.
In Spanish, asiática is a woman from Asia. I don't understand. Asian does not equal sex.
That is not right, because it isn't true.
I just think it's important that women's contributions be seen at the same level as their male counterparts.
That's why Pantene created She, Search Human Equalizer.
Ah.
Transforming the way we search and removing the bias.
Wait,
Search engines understand a query,
I gotta shrink
determine
it down. We
relevance,
gotta
and
see
present
everybody's
results.
reactions.
As a browser extension, She operates on the search backend, filtering and repositioning results to
Removes
yield
the
more
men.
accurate representations.
Yes, more
So
accurate.
now, a schoolgirl means a schoolgirl. And ethnicity is not a sexual invitation.
That's just boring.
This time when I search greatest engineers, there's actually 3 females in the top 10.
That's definitely a more equitable search result.
This is what we should see. It's me. It's everyone.
I can see myself. You can influence the way search engines work today, giving women's transformations the visibility they deserve.
It's the most exciting time in the world, and we can transform ourselves in ways we've never have.
We
She
can
is
even be
available for
disingenuous.
everyone to take the
All
bias
right,
out of
Steve-o, stop
search
it there.
and
That's
is an open
there's
invitation
nothing
for
else.
Look at the thumbs down versus thumbs up on that.
Yeah, already.
Oh yeah,
They're
3.6K.
getting ratioed to hell on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. Can I point this out? She. Search human equalizer? Is that
Yeah.
what it said?
Yeah.
Equalizing it by calling it she?
Becca, this is why we love you. You see that little bit of hypocrisy just blatantly right there.
And what was the one? It was.
So I saw a video breakdown of this. Steve-o, just go ahead and type in schoolgirls into Google. Because that's what they're using.
It's
right?
already in his history. It's fine.
Yeah.
Fucking
Hey, put this
funny.
in your history.
Oh, my schoolgirl folder. Yes.
Is it schoolgirl or schoolgirls?
Pudding girls.
Girls.
Pudding? Oh, I thought you said pudding girls.
Pudding girls.
All right.
Now, if you type
Okay.
in Japanese,
No, go to
schoolgirl-
images.
Wait, that's not that's not the same search they got.
Go to images. Well, they were on the images page. Maybe that's why.
Oh, okay.
So much,
Look
so
a
much
lot like girls
sexualization.
that are in school.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, there are
okay.
some what one would say is provocative ones, but the rest are look. I mean,
I mean,
soccer,
that like yeah,
that's
this
no big
is-
deal.
She's got attitude. We got a swim team. We got some girls hanging out, and some. Oh, there's a dude in that one.
That's all
not-
pretty. It's pretty
This is-
innocuous.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
bland here.
Now,
All
Steve-o,
right.
if you add Japanese to that, it's gonna change your search results
Well-
definitely. That's definitely going to
But
change.
they don't have
it.
to-
that's not what they were talking
Put
about.
it in. You have to sign the waiver to say you're 18
Yeah, but they
plus.
said that Asian doesn't mean sexual. They said that.
Put in
Maybe they're
famous inventors.
Yeah, what was it? It was
There was one.
it was
Painter.
top. It was artists, but I don't know. They
Famous artists. Just put in famous
top
artists.
10 artists.
I typed in on Google greatest artists of all time, and it has it broken down based on actual information, how many records sold, how many this and that and this and that. And it's all men in this list that I'm seeing on Google, but yours is different than mine.
Yeah, you do like painters. This one they did, or
Famous painters.
Yeah, I mean that's just
Two famous painters.
most of the famous painters are men. I mean that's
exactly.
Just
When you think of famous painters, you think of the famous painters that are famous. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be women. It doesn't make me feel any better if I Google famous artists. I'm like, oh, that one's like me.
Scroll to the right,
I mean,
Steve-O.
you're looking at famous painters, and you cannot say that. I mean, are there famous women painters now?
Frida Kahlo.
I'm sure there are.
A woman.
But when you think of art,
it's more
along the time frame.
Georgia
you're
O'Keeffe's
not
there.
going to have famous painters that were females because they just didn't.
Mary Cassatt.
Yeah.
It was the Renaissance. Women, that was not their. Whether you want to say it's their role or it's not their role, that's not the issue at hand. But at that time period in history, women just, that wasn't something they did.
You right now in colleges have this whole idea of quote decolonization, this idea that all of Western civ, Western literature, like those painters, like composers, all the famous,
forget all of the history because they were all
it's
men.
they literally are saying that teaching those things is teaching white supremacy. And it's like
we were the majority.
Well, that's a pretty big stretch
here.
But
we should just start,
it is a big stretch, but that is what people are saying.
Just start erasing
I have
chapters
seen these
from
videos.
our history books because it just doesn't make me feel good.
There was a woman who was a well-liked professor. She was a Western, basically she was like a civics professor, so Western civilization, that kind of thing. She was at a conference, and the whole conference was about this idea that it is not inclusive enough, that we need to be literally teaching non-Western thing, like the West is a specific thing. We're talking Europe, we're talking Greece, the classics, we're talking Greece, we're talking Rome, this certain time in this history. Okay, that was what the classes were literally about. And then the whole conference was all these people getting up and saying, how do we change this? We need to be talking about these other things, these other places in the world. Well, this is specifically the thing. And this woman literally just said, but that is what the subject is. These things are important. Like, fucking the Greeks invented democracy. Like, these ideas, philosophy, Greek philosophers, Socrates, Plato, these people literally, the foundations of the fucking world are built on these people.
Of the systems that eventually gave freedom to all. They
Yeah.
didn't do it at the time, but yeah, it led us down that road.
And this woman just pointed out, like, this is still important and people still need to be taught that. She was stripped of her, she was fired. Okay, she was banned from the conference and she was fired from the other position she held at some foundation or something. And that's, and like when I say this shit, I'm not exaggerating. I could, if I studied it more, I could tell you even more just terrible shit that constantly happens in these kind of in these areas. So, yeah. That's all.
A wave, like people are like actual history or knowledge be damned. I need my search results to look like me, whether it's true or not. Show me the most famous painters, but really what I want to see is mostly women. If you can somehow manipulate the search terms so that it's at least maybe 50-50. I just need to see more women in there, even if it's not true, even if these are not among the most famous. I don't care about facts. I just need to feel better.
Yeah, there's this guy who I mentioned earlier, Ethan Van Sciver. He made this point. He has a son and 2 daughters, and he was talking about watching them play growing up. And one of the things he noticed is that boys, when they play, like say they have a superhero, they imagine themselves as the superhero. Like when I was a boy, I would play as Batman. I would have the fucking sheet, and I would run around the house like that.
Yeah.
But he said the girls would always have dolls, and they would imagine the dolls as themselves. Like they would see, like they would take this doll and be like, "This is me, haha. I'm gonna go play T or whatever it is you're gonna do, play house." And this kind of goes along with that idea of, like, to me, like I have heroes that I look up to, and I want to emulate that person in some way. And then you see like this like overly, what sort of feminist, I guess, this ad for this thing that says, I just want to see myself.
Right.
When I look for things, I just want to see myself.
I looked for perfect, and I didn't see myself.
Yeah, I didn't see me.
You fucking narcissist. Why do you think that you are perfect? Like you're. I mean, obviously she didn't mean literally picture of herself, but and what wasn't it like perfect hair was what she was.
She had Googled perfect hair, and then later had put in beautiful hair.
And just let me be clear too, when I say that, it doesn't mean one is better than the other. They're just different.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are just different viewpoints. And that's not like a scientific stance. It's just it's an idea. I'm just saying, like, men and women are different.
And
looking at the history, like with what Dave was saying, that's the way things were.
And
if you want to be a great painter, go be a great painter.
And Google's just trying to give you results that are most likely what you're looking for, and that's judged off the entire user base of Google. Like, when someone searches for this, which thing do they click on first? And that is going to inform the algorithm. This is closer to the response that they were looking for, and it's just going to funnel down to that. I mean, when you're looking for maybe top 10 most famous artists, you're probably going to get a result closer to like, what artists have most people heard of? And most people have heard of the men throughout history, ancient history. You're not going to list like, more recent artists. It's going to be your Van Goghs and your Leonardos and your Michelangelos.
There's no such thing as a recent artist.
I mean, I don't know. Well,
I don't
Banksy,
know about that.
Banksy's pretty
Frank
good.
Lloyd Wright.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody clear.
He's well known.
He's known.
He's
Yeah, he's
very
known.
well known.
Everybody clear your head.
All right.
I'm gonna say your name, and when I say it, tell me the very first. Well, I'm gonna ruin all. Okay, Brad. Most famous author. Who is it?
Stephen King.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Or Danielle Steele.
I was gonna say Hemingway.
What did you famous on?
No, Dave. You have a different question. Most famous rock and roll artist.
I mean, just a single or a group.
Just whatever comes to your mind.
Whatever comes to mind. It doesn't have to be the most famous.
Elvis.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too. Nathan.
Hmm.
Most famous movie director.
Michael Bay. That's what came to my mind.
Did the new Star Wars.
She didn't say best movie director.
Yeah.
Best at.
No, I would say
player.
Scorsese. Scorsese would be, yeah, that would be a legit answer. Yeah. Scorsese.
Steve-O. Most famous
person that landed on the moon. Man, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Most famous scientist.
Bill Nye. Richard Feynman.
Okay. Well, y'all need to visit the SHE search engine.
It's actually like a plug-in. Brad knows how it works better than I do, but it's like a plug-in for Google, right?
It's a plug-in, and all it would do is filter results, and not even like.
Becca, do you have that now?
Because 50 terms.
It
not
changes
that many.
it adds search terms to your search terms, right?
It's just
more women.
A permanent filter. I mean,
Yeah,
if you go into the grocery store and you go, I want to get these vegetables, but I need them to be organic. I mean, that's it. Now you just say, I don't want to have to do that every time. I need it to be organic every time, and that's just it. I mean, that's what I want to search for me. So all this SheSite is, like you said, it's a plug-in. It's just a permanent filter for the search engine.
Yeah, Becca, I was hoping you had that engine and you were going to give us the real answers to those questions.
No, I was just going to say, you think most famous author, okay, William Shakespeare, Edgar Allan Poe, fucking Henry David Thoreau. You think
Danielle Steele.
Okay, Danielle Steele, yeah. What's
Patricia Cornwell.
Emily Dickinson. Fucking
Danielle Steele's
Virginia
a woman.
Woolf. Okay, but still.
Emily Wattinson?
Dickinson.
Oh, I never heard of her.
You can't. No, that's not going to be. That's getting filtered.
Well, it's just like you don't. When you think, when someone asks you and you think who is the most famous of this person, it just comes to your head. It's not, you don't think about gender. You don't think, I want to make sure it's a woman, I say. It's just, who is the most famous person? Who did you learn about the most?
That's what makes it a good test for if you're sexist or racist or whatever, because it's the first thing that comes to your head. And now I know that everyone on this podcast is sexist.
Nobody asked me.
Becca, right?
That coming there.
Well, you were the one asking us, so that was a given.
What maybe the deeper meaning, and I'm not saying I'm promoting this, but what the deeper understanding is, they're trying to change the paradigm so that there are more famous females.
We don't need that shit.
You know what I say, Dave, to that?
They need to earn it.
Get good. That's what I say to that. Get
You're
good.
going to do that ASMR shit.
I think now is the opportunity to do that, but you cannot compare today's society and the reflection of that cross section of artists and visionaries or whatever, and say that because they were all male in the past, we suck now. And that's not true. They were all male in the past because that is the way it was. But now you can't bend that curve a little easier to be Shakespearean or Lloyd Webber or any of those things. You still have to be good. If anything, the bar is raised, and you cannot lower the bar because what was good before and was a different gender. I mean, it's the more you're exposed to it, the higher the bar is. You cannot just you got to be good.
I think what they're trying to do, and there's a lot of different groups of people that are taking different routes to try to accomplish this, and some of their routes really suck. But they're trying to make it where the young girls that are coming up understand that there is a place for them in science, in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. They're trying to make it where these girls that are growing up understand that you can have a career in this stuff if you're into it. But with something like that's useless. It's just gonna cloud your search results when you're really trying to find real information. And it's a good thing. Like obviously my Twitter feed is full of space shit, NASA shit, all that kind of stuff. And they really are trying to push females in science. And that's because from what I've gathered, they've realized over the past couple decades, I'm sure, that there is a highly untapped potential in half of our population, because it's mostly men going into it. Well, what if we tried to explain to all the girls out there that there is a place for them here, and they're just more minds that we could apply to whatever the problem is that we're trying to solve.
It's a broader talent pool.
Exactly.
They know, I mean,
but they're not as good, so why even bother?
It's not that they're not as I can't. Yeah, I have to give that a moment. Yeah. No, the truth is though that less girls like those kind of things. That's true. I mean, they just do.
But I think they're just trying to.
Fine, yeah, let them know.
Yeah, they're trying to change that paradigm.
I just, what I see is, you talk about what they're trying to do. I see this. I think a woman in America, no matter her race, a woman in America is the most, quote, privileged person in history. They're more privileged than the men in America. They're less likely to get harsh sentences when they're arrested. They're less likely to be arrested when stopped. They have more help through school. More women now are graduating college than men. So I see feminism as
They won.
They won, but
we're
still mad about shit, so we need more. While across the world in Iran right now, we have women literally taking off their hijabs in public. I see a new video every day of women in Iran standing up in town squares, taking off their hijabs, and then being tackled by police and taken to jail. Feminists in our country aren't talking about that. Because
insane. They should be. They should totally be talking about that.
It's racist to talk about that. They don't talk about it. They don't talk about the problems with Islam.
That is insane. That is the perfect example of anti-feminism. Is what's going on.
Those are the places in Africa and the Middle East, the places where feminism could do the most work, the best work. But instead, they're creating fucking and they want to see more women painters in their search engines. While you literally have videos of women being flogged for showing their hair in public.
Well, I've got two things to say. My first thing is, if in almost any situation, if I have a choice between, like, I don't know why I would, but if I had a choice between a movie directed by a man and a movie directed by a woman, I will always pick the man. And I don't know if it's just like some subconscious trust issue. Like, I don't believe the woman did a good job. So I'm going to watch what the man did, because men have proven throughout history they're good at things.
I can't tell if she's joking or not. I'm not sure.
I'm not. I'm really not. I've always preferred the work of men. I don't know why. I don't think, a lot of times I think women try too hard to put their name on something, and it just comes off as try hard. The other thing I want to say, though, kind of contradictory to what I just said, is I asked somebody who the most famous author was. And anytime somebody asks you that question, your first thought is you immediately go to the classics, right? That's just what you do. Okay, but imagine right now. Okay, Brad said Stephen King. Imagine somebody that is popular right now that is still creating things, right? So you say Stephen King. You know who really probably should have been mentioned is
J.K.
J.K.
Rowling.
Right?
But the thing is that, like, she did something amazing. She did something great, and everybody knows about it. Every fucking body.
J.K. Rowling.
She wrote Harry Potter.
She made Pokemon.
But she's not the first person you think of, and that's why we need fucking search engines like so that we can make sure that we remember people like J.K. Rowling.
I bet Stephen King has actually still probably sold more books than J.K. Rowling.
I would imagine he has, because just simply quantity. He has fucking many of them.
That motherfucker.
He had more movies.
That motherfucker has been pumping out books for decades and decades.
He sold 3 to me in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. Hey, what'd you think about The Mist?
The Mist was very good. I fell asleep the first time we tried to watch it, but that's because I was tired.
I love that movie. Greatest ending of any movie ever. Greatest of all time.
It makes me wonder why I like Stephen King so much. I love him. I love reading his books and listening to them, especially now that I'm in my car all the time. But I hate, like, open endings, and he does that so many times, where, like, he does bad endings, but he also does endings where it's not even ended and you never get to fucking know. And I hate that. It makes me think about it.
About that ending.
Yeah,
nothing at all.
Yeah, that's pretty.
It's the back of the dude's head. Is it?
There's one called Cell that I read, and it's about you know the one.
That one is.
They did make a movie about it starring John Cusack, and I haven't seen it yet, but that one is open-ended, and it pissed me off so much because I was so invested in the story. He has this fucking way with storytelling. It's insane. Keeps you fucking riveted. I love Stephen King. This is our podcast about Stephen King.
And sumo.
Watch sumo, listeners. Get out
but
there.
Long story short, women are not good at things, and you should just.
Have you noticed while watching sumo that you've not seen a single woman anywhere near the dokyo, the ring?
There was Pearl Necklace the other night.
No, she's sitting in the stands, but the people sweeping, working, moving things. it's all women are actually not allowed on the dokyo.
And actually, I was thinking about
They would
that.
taint it with their femininity.
Feminists aren't even talking about it.
Like
They're not.
Are there no women anywhere trying to be a sumo wrestler?
Japan's not like that.
It's not. It's not.
Thank goodness.
It's just not like that.
I don't believe that. Okay, for the men, it's like to be as big as you can be. You know, even though it's muscle and they're toned, but they're as big as they can be. That's not what women go for. That's probably why there's not a whole lot of women sumo
It is in
wrestlers.
Japan.
I don't think so.
They'd have to wrestle topless too.
The guy
True,
who's
Yeah.
in that match we just saw, he was the pretty boy of sumo.
And it would just over and over again having to take the jello out and then put the regular thing back in. It would be a lot of work.
We'll just do a separate, like, you know how there's Winter Olympics and Summer Olympics. They'll do like men's sumo and women's sumo. That way they don't have to switch out the jello pools.
I think America may have women's sumo, but I'm not sure.
That would make more sense to me than Japanese women's sumo.
Yeah, Japan has a very clear men are men and women are women kind of thing. The way it used to, the good old days, the way it used to be here.
You know who I could see doing women's sumo? Australia. I could see them doing it.
Yeah.
Be hot.
Just some really angry, huge bogan women just out there. You know what bogan is? Bogan's like it's like an Australian redneck. I'm pretty sure I've got that term right.
They train with
if I made an accidental racist statement, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure it's a bogan is it's a Australian redneck.
They train with kangaroos, so
yeah,
it's perfect.
I remember, since we're on this line of thinking with the men are men and women are women, I saw something earlier this week where it was a little sort of documentary about this girl who ran track or was running track in high school, and then like she loved to run track all her life. Just it was something she was good at, and they started to let transgender athletes run track.
Mm-hmm.
So it was to formerly males but now identify as women, and to run as a transgender you do not have to provide any proof that you've had any kind of surgery at all. So these two guys joined this female track league and blew everybody out of the water, all the meets. It was just those two, and she was getting pissed off because she was running track and she was hoping she'd get a scholarship, but the people, they only look at the two names on top for scholarships because they have so many schools to go through. They don't really show up at track meets. They just look at the names and they just see these two names winning everything. So she can't get a scholarship now because these two guys decided they were going to just play the transgender card and be like, okay, yeah, I want to race as a female. Like they did okay in the men's, but they just blow all the women out of the water.
It's really
women aren't good at things.
Well, no, it's just that there's a difference between men and their muscles and women and their muscles.
Level.
Men are faster, men are stronger. I get it.
Talked about
just women are different.
No, that is true.
We talked about the UFC
Women,
thing too. Yeah.
Men are faster and stronger. Did you remember we talked about the? Well, you said it with a little smile on your face.
I know a woman that can outrun men. Okay, I know. All right.
And I found her on She.
Are you telling me that you could outrun an Olympic gold medalist woman's runner?
Hell no.
Are you telling me that? Are you trying to tell me that? Because she
I think a high school girl could outrun
how
me.
Can you say?
Totally, yeah.
Look, I got this snowball from outside. How can you say that global warming is real?
It is a similar argument. I mean, I mentioned this before, where the women's Olympic soccer team played a 16-year-old boys high school team and got beat like 5-1.
Wow.
I mean, it's not like a small difference. So, and it sucks for the girls that want to compete. It sucks for them.
Yeah.
And just as, and you know, what was her name? The tennis player, Navratilova. Martina, you know, Dave?
Martina
Navratilova, yeah.
She came out and she's a lesbian. She was one of those like big women's power lesbians for decades, and she came out and said like we need to have like trans women are coming in, men are coming in, and they're basically fucking up our sport. We need to do something about it. And she's just been like fucking lambasted as a bigot and all this shit, and lost a place in some organization. And
I can't believe you can. Like, I know that, you know, people get entrenched in their beliefs and their politics and stuff, but I don't know how you could even hear that argument that, well, if you have a transgender league and you're going to have some people that started out as males and some people that started out as females, and the people that are males are going to beat the females on average, like, by a lot. And that just the first time you hear that argument, you should be like, oh, yeah, I guess that is true. They probably would win more often.
But you can't say that because men and women are the same.
And you're
That's the argument.
blinded. You're just so blinded that you can't, like I don't even think it's getting through to them intellectually, but they're still choosing to say something different. I think they just don't get it.
We just need to have things like a Go Fish League or, you know, something like that, so it really levels the playing field, the actual sport. You know, it's just a go fish game.
Yeah, play some War.
I like that.
Good,
yeah, it's
good,
a card game.
Good
Crazy
competitive
Eights.
card game.
Things that require no skill whatsoever. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is definitely the way that things are going to have to go, because if you look at any NFL team, it's all men.
Nah, I'm pretty sure.
Now that you mention it, I think you're right.
Because they don't let women play on those teams because they can't keep up.
They get broken.
And they can't there has to be a line. You can't say, well, only women that are strong enough to keep up can play. You'd have to let them all play.
We got to get one of these people on here and be like, well, how come women don't play in the NFL? Well, that's a good point.
People don't.
They can be good kickers.
They don't fucking. They don't realize the size and power of those dudes. Like any normal guy, any of us in there would fucking get killed.
Yeah.
We would break bones in a minute.
I'm a huge fan of football. My wife and I watch it regularly, and one of the greatest things we've noticed is, and occasionally you watch prep ball, and that's high school, and you can easily watch a prep ball game, some national championship, and then you watch a college game, and you can see the size differences. You know, they're feeding them grain and pork chops and taters and all kinds of stuff.
Troughs of taters and pork chops.
French fried potatoes in there.
We follow the college football, and then you get to the point where it's the draft, and then you watch these people, these gentlemen grow over the course of their career, and they're massive in NFL. You look at the defensive or offensive line of an NFL team versus a college team, and you go, really? Even if they were all the same, even if you're like an all-star team of everybody that went to the NFL from college, and you had them all lined up, and both before and after, it's just amazing that they're so much bigger, so much. They almost like they stretch them on a rack and get them taller too.
Yeah, that's why women don't play, because we can't get bigger.
According to Wikipedia, to date, only one woman has ever attempted to join the NFL, Lauren Silberman, who received a tryout to be in a scouting combine in 2013.
Did she make it?
Probably not.
That's the way to do it.
A lot of guys don't make it in those scouting combines.
Yeah, just try out. Well, it's like what the military does. All you got to do is you got to be able to run over this thing, do this course, and make it over the wall or whatever.
Like 10 push-ups.
But actually, now that I'm saying,
10-minute
isn't
mile
there
or
a
something?
thing where like the requirements for women are lower? Did they change that?
Oh.
Requirements for what?
Like to make it into the military, like.
Yeah, I think so.
Requirements are not as
Yeah, I think so.
Which is kind of dangerous if you're in a combat situation and you have less able people with you than.
Yeah, I could throw out another unpopular opinion. I don't really know if women should be in combat, to be honest with you.
mean, I'm sure some of them can totally keep up, and I think they should be given the opportunity. If you can meet the requirements, then
if they can meet the same requirements.
Totally
You need nurses, man. You need nurses.
But that's not. Yeah, what he's saying is just combat. Like, it's not like women shouldn't be in the military, but you should have to pass the same requirements as men.
Sigourney Weaver
on the same level, and you can't because scientifically.
Well, I mean, some can, and that's one of these instances where you shouldn't completely rule out an entire group because by average you're not going to make it. But you know, the individuals that can make it through that test, then by all means, you want to see some combat, just make it through the test. That's all you have to do.
Don't lower the requirements for it.
No.
It's like talking about the fireman thing. Like women only have to lift a certain percent. It's
Sorry,
science.
I can't carry you out of this building because they lowered the requirements and I passed, but I can't help you.
I can
Go ahead, Becca. Go ahead.
I can see it from both sides. That I can see how heartbreaking it would be for a woman who has always wanted to be a firefighter, but she just simply is not physically strong enough to do it. I can see why that would hurt
devastating, I'm sure,
to that person. But at the same time, you know what else is going to fucking hurt tremendously? It's when you can't lift the person that's burning alive in the building because they lowered the requirements for you, and you have to watch them die because you couldn't do what someone else could.
It should be looked at the same way that, like, someone that wants to be a pilot in the military can't be a pilot if they're colorblind.
Yeah.
I'm
here,
sorry,
flip it on.
Really sucks. You wanted to do this your entire life, but you can't do it because of this thing that you have no control over.
Time to switch your focus. Do something meaningful that you actually can do.
Right.
And you know, if you flip the gender, if you flip the thing on its end and you take gender out, I mean, I guess I'm a snob at this. I don't know, but. And I know that there are physical standards for firefighters and whatnot, and I don't want to get a bunch of hate from firefighters. But I see an obese firefighter, and I'm concerned that you cannot pull me out of the building. And I mean a male.
Yeah.
You know, you go, well, that girl can't pull the 200-pound grunt out of a firefight. Well, the 280-pound male firefighter, by the time he's exhausted enough to be in the building and pull somebody out, he may not be able to pull the 200-pound grunt out because, well, he's a 280-pound obese firefighter.
He probably passed the test at some point, and he's let himself go. And there should be, you know,
I think it's I think there are rechecks. That's the issue I have is I go, how thorough are the rechecks?
Maybe he's got that sumo physique, man. He might be big, but he's strong as a horse.
They are out of that particular place where they're going into a building and they're more, you know, in charge.
Or you've been in this fire department. What do they call it? Post. You've been at this post for so long that the chief is not gonna not pass you. You know.
Or maybe you are the chief.
Yeah.
There's a girl at work who's really small and really tiny. And she told me the other day she had graduated firefighting school, and she's also an EMT, and she also has a shitload of school. Anyway,
thanks for stopping by, chat.
I asked her, "Oh yeah, you think you can carry me out of a fire?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Show me." She's like, "Well, we have equipment for that." So they have equipment that will equalize it for a woman.
I got pulled over a couple weeks ago, late one night because my headlight had gone out that night and I couldn't do anything about it. And I could see two cops. There was the guy was standing out back by his car, and then this girl came up to my side window. I had this one rolled down, and then I suddenly hear the knock. I roll down the window, and I swear she looked like she was still in high school. She looked terrified. This was like 3 a.m. She looked so scared. She was like shaking while she was talking to me, just asking me for, you know, my ID and insurance, all that. And I was, why are you going to be a cop? Why are you a cop? You look terrified right now. You're a very small girl, hair tied back in a little ponytail. I was like,
she'll get over it. I'm sure it's probably like her.
Yeah, but it's like, think of all the crazy crackheads she's gonna have, you're gonna have to deal with.
That's why the other guy was there with his hand on his gun.
Hope she gets over it.
Yeah, that's her training officer.
Yeah.
Like she's
his
in
old
training
job.
right
She's
now.
out handling his gun.
I don't know. If you can do the job, you can do the job. I don't care what.
The pendulum swings, and it is swinging now, and it will swing back. You know, people are trying to adjust for what evils have been done. They're over adjusting.
That's why we have these abortion bills right now. It's a swing back.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. It kind of needs to happen to some extent. Becca.
Yes.
It's that time of the show again.
I felt that. I felt it coming. So this poem is called Plutonium Protests. You see the lines getting a bit too long, but the information goes right through you. You are way too concerned with being well received. First time playing this game? Get your ducks in a row, because here's the thing. You don't want to let your king down. He would take aim at your character. And if you're not losing, you're not living.
Not losing, you're not living. That's great.
How do these keep getting better and better? Like, we already thought they were at the top.
How is it possible?
I don't know. Answer that question by leaving us a voicemail, y'all. What's that phone number?
865-316-6955. Call and talk about sumo.
Follow us on Twitter, _verbal assault _ leave us some dough at patreon.com/verbal assault. Make sure to, follow us on Mixer so you can catch the stream live. Mixer.com/verbal assault podcast. One word.
Thank you to Haywood Banks for our theme song, and also check us out on YouTube where the video of this gets posted every week.
Yes.
All right.
Deuces.